What's up, everybody? As you can see, they're going right as planned. The SPARS pandemic, a futuristic scenario public health risk communicators. All right. If y'all don't know what this is, I'll leave the link in the description, but I'm going to go ahead. This was a 2017 exercise, and it's kind of like a playbook because it's all about the you know what. So we're gonna go all the way down to 50, as you can see from the video with the Bills player. You know, it's starting to come out more mainstream now. They have to make the deniers, you know, validate it. Go down here, okay? It's another chapter in here I got to show y'all too as a bonus. So we're going to go down to Lovers and Haters, chapter 13 of the SPARS pandemic. All right, this was an exercise that this came out in 2017. So it's almost like a total playbook to what is going on right now. So here we go. Early on in the Corvax vaccination campaign, Corvax is the name of the vaccination that came up in this little mock scenario. Anti-vaccination groups began emerging on social media platforms. These groups initially came from the four primary sources: Muslim groups across the country who opposed the vaccine on the basis that the original formulation was used to treat pigs, African Americans who refused to be vaccinated based on continued fear of governmental experimentation on African American population, alternative medicine proponents who had been active in campaigning against Covert, whatever the hell that is, and anti-vaccination activists who were galvanized by the anti-vaccination sentiment associated with the nationwide measles outbreak in 2015. Remember, this is all a simulation. With the exception of the last group, none of the anti-vaccination movements were coercively organized initially. Existing primary and small isolated pockets across the country. The general anti-vaccination proponents, however, existed at the core. National group long before the SPARS pandemic, followed by the 2015 measles outbreak in the United States. This group united online. By 2016, they had created several primary Facebook groups and numerous Twitter accounts and began using hashtags like hashtag no vaccines for me and hashtag vaccines kill. The anti-vaccination movement migrated to ZapQ, all right, which this is a mock social media platform in this exercise. Now this took place in 2025 through 2025 through 2028 or some shit, I don't know. But ZapQ, this is just mind blowing. If you have time, go read this. I've already did a video, but it's up on BitChute, and I'll put this on BitChute because it's probably going to get deleted off of YouTube. But I just wanted to add this to after the Bills player, Beasley. It shows that this is part of the whole plan. It's not, I don't believe it's organic. It's just part of the plan because they already went through this. I mean, they already planned this, you know? So I'm just putting this up here to show people that they already had this script written for what's going on. All right, so the anti-vaccination movement migrated to ZapQ. On this little simulation, ZapQ is like like a BitChute or alternative platform, right? That was created by people, free speech. But anyway, upon its emergence in 2022, due to its ability to combine feeds from across multiple platforms, including real-time text, picture, and video messages, which actually, the way they explain this is like would be the dopest platform if this actually came out, you know? So, anyways, and video messages from members as well as select traditional media posts such as video, text, streaming, news feeds, and a single interface that could be used on IAT and other mobile platforms. Additionally, through their ability to control group membership, these groups ensured that they would not be exposed to pro-vaccine propaganda from pharmaceutical companies, the federal government, or public health medical authorities. By 2026, many core members of the anti-vaccine movement attained their national news almost exclusively from the anti-vaccine ZapQ sites. I mean, I wish we did have something like this. It would be dope. When CORVAX distribution began, the anti-vaccination movement mobilized their resources, citing the selected quotes from the CDC, NIH, and other governmental agencies. Anti-vaccine proponents began spreading the message that CORVAX was inadequately tested and had unknown long-term side effects. And as you can see, look, John Hopkins, for those of y'all who haven't seen part 1 that I did, John Hopkins Security for Health, page 43, SPARS pandemic. All right, we're going to keep going. And that natural immunity resulting from contracting disease was more effective means of conferring protection. Many of these messages also contain suggestions, once again, drawing on carefully selected and edited quotes from the CDC, NIH, and other government officials regarding how to manage SPARS symptoms. The vaccination movement, ambiguity, motivation to prevent vaccine injury, and social media expertise meant that numerous Americans heard the message. National polls conducted in mid-August 2026, for example, showed that 68% of the U.S. citizens have seen the post or read a comment from someone expressing anti-CORVAX sentiments, which would be Pfizer sentiments or whatever. And look at this. This is like a mock tweet, August 2026. Hashtag CORVAX is unclean, not for us Muslims. Hashtag no vax. Concern about CORVAX among American Muslims was also common, in particular Muslim immigrants to the United States. These concerns stem from early traditional media reports on CORVAX that explain how the vaccine was derivative from the GMI vaccine using to treat cows and pigs in Southeast Asia. After reading and reviewing these reports, special local Muslim leaders mistakenly conflated the origin of the virus with the origin of the vaccine and concluded that the vaccine itself was unclean. As such, they viewed receiving the vaccine as a violation of their faith. By posting their conclusions on social media, their views quickly spread beyond their local communities, and rumors began among Muslims across the country that the vaccine was forbidden. When federal public health officials became aware of the opposition from Muslim communities, they organized a press conference hosted by HHS Security NAGO to address these misinterpretations, which would be like a Dr. Fauci. In this storyline, that's like a Dr. Fauci. In this press conference, Secretary Nagel explained that CORVAX was designed specifically for humans and not for pigs. She invited Imam Omar Khalifa, isn't that funny? A prominent imam in the Washington, D.C. area to speak at the press conference, and he reiterated the secretary's points. He also called on his fellow Muslims to embrace SPARS vaccination, assuming that this press conference, which was widely publicized and shared, would effectively usage the concerns of American Muslims. The U.S. government continued with its existing vaccination promotional campaign. In contrast to most Christian religions, however, the Muslim faith is not all centralized, and the statements of Imam from Washington, D.C. held little validity for many Muslim communities. The influence of local imams continued to perpetuate anti-CORVAX sentiments among many local Muslim communities well into the national vaccine campaign. Consequently, vaccination rates among Muslims generally lag behind those of other demographics of the United States. Despite failure of these federal incentives, some local public health departments were able to effectively address the concerns of local Muslim populations. In King County, Washington, for example, It's funny they use King County, Washington, Bill Gates' hometown, right? Local public health officials became aware of concerns of the local Somali Muslim population in early August, acknowledging the authority held by local imams. These officials held community meetings with local Somali leaders to engage the local community and posted cultural relevant information on websites specifically designed for their Somali Muslim constitutes. By enlisting Sorry, guys. I was looking at something. By enlisting the support of local Muslim leadership, these efforts ultimately led to high levels of Corvax acceptance among Somali Muslims in King County. Yeah, of course, because that's where Bill Gates' home is. Not all local state public health departments, however, took this approach. Some were unaware of the concerns of this particular subpopulation, and others felt resources should be more appropriately allocated elsewhere. All right. The fact that websites like the one posted by Seattle King County Public Health were publicly available, however, meant that Muslim populations in the area of the country had access to them. In Denton, Ohio, for example, local Senegalese Muslim immigrants began sharing the link to the King County webpage. This in turn helped increase Muslim acceptance of Corvax in the area, although it diminished their confidence and trust in local health officials who had not conducted targeted outreach in their community. But you see, everything that you're reading here is shit that they're doing. It's a campaign. They're doing whatever they can to try to get people to take this vaccine. I mean, this is all planned. Like, this is really a mind-blowing, read, this whole thing, guys. All right, the concern of African Americans were very different. Distrust of new treatments, including vaccine, was not a new phenomenon among African American communities. The legacy of the Tuskegee syphilis experiments and the fact that during the 2014 Ebola outbreak, experimental therapeutics were not made available to Thomas Airy Duncan, a Liberian traveler who had died from Ebola in Dallas, Texas. Yeah, remember that Thomas Duncan psyop, right? Y'all remember that shit. That was crazy. Nor to many West African communities struck by Ebola meant that many African Americans, particularly those living in communities in the media, consuming media through local traditional media platforms, feared the possibility of being subject to scientific experimentation. These fears worsened during healthcare providers' analysis of EHR's Los Angeles County, which identified many African American communities as well as other minority populations as lacking access to primary care. And that's exactly what you're hearing on the news now, that these communities lack access to primary care. It's just mind-blowing, man, that people can't see this is all planned, all right? In some areas, aggressive public health vaccination campaigns were locally interpreted as direct examples of experimentation, repurposing hashtags like hashtag Black Lives Matter. Can y'all believe that? Too bad Black Lives Matter is all for this COVID, it's all for this shit. So some African Americans in these communities began to actively campaign against COVID. Could you imagine if Black Lives Matter just turned against COVID? I mean, come on. What is that? This is just crazy. Through August 2026, anti-vaccinators, Muslims, African Americans remain largely isolated from one another. By September, however, continued anger over EHR use and growing concern over Corvax side effects spurred these once disparate groups to join forces with alternative medicine proponents still campaigning against Kevlar. Whatever. Like I said, we're going to call it Kevlar. Uniting their efforts, these groups began sharing common anti-vaccine messages through a variety of social media channels, including Facebook, Tumblr, Snapchat, YouTube, and ZapCube forums, as well as local radio announcements. Some anti-vaccine groups also began crowdsourcing information about vaccine distribution sites to stage local anti-vaccine protests. These protests, along with anti-vaccine messages shared by the supergroup, subsequently received wide national coverage through traditional media outlets, including local and national television news channel. While the U.S. government attempted to respond to claims raised by the anti-vaccine supergroup, their message did not reach many members of the anti-vaccination group because they have already tailored their social media and news feeds to reflect only the opinions of those whom they agreed. On the other hand, government messages were effective among some segments of the general U.S. population who have not limited their news feeds, and more importantly, they serve to galvanize a burgeoning pro-vaccination campaign. I wish that would have happened, See, they anticipated that shit to happen, and they got a fucking gift-wrapped Christmas present of compliance, They planned for people to not go for this. So they actually got a bonus because this was in 2017 and they already planned that. That's why they did censor all the platforms, because they did not want a real Zap queue to form. And, YouTube chat, they didn't want all that, So this is really mind-blowing when you really read this, because you can see what they knew what they had to do. They tested it and they got their reaction, and they went right to this playbook right here and said, nope, we got to stop that. It's pretty crazy. During the measles outbreak of 2015, pro-vaccination groups like Mothers Against Vaccine Waivers emerged across the United States. With few exceptions, these groups lost all momentum by 2018, which is right. Furthermore, activity among the groups that remained active was limited to a few unsure social media sites, semi-popular hashtags such as GetVaxxed, hashtag VaccineWorks, and Vaccinate. With the advent of CoreVax, the pro-vaccination movement found renewed purpose. By the time CoreVax distribution began in July 2026, it was clear that not only did SPARS infect children more frequently and severely, but mild cases of disease often gave rise to secondary bacterial pneumonia in children. These infections often occurred between 4 to 6 months after initial infection with the SPARS, resulting in greater rates of pediatric morbidity and mortality from the disease. And then it goes into concern about SPARS was quite high among many parents from young children. And when anti-vaccination campaigns began threatening vaccine uptake, some of the parents began to mobilize. Parents who were once active in pro-vaccination campaigns of 2015 begin repurposing. Why does that word don't look right? Communication channels developed at that time, including Facebook pages and Twitter accounts. New local groups also began to organize ZapQ, Snapchat, and other social media outlets. Ultimately, by November 26, many of these groups coalesced from what the fuck? I can't read right now. Coalesced from a semi-cohesive national group that accepted to counter the efforts of super anti-vaccination group. Yeah, I know I can't read anyways, but look at this. Julie Sanders. How can people take this vaccine? So unsafe. Hashtag CoreVax. Hashtag NoVax. Hashtag not my kids. Hashtag vaccine killed. See? They couldn't have this stuff, man. This is crazy. So HHS including the CDC and FDA and other government agencies at the federal, state, and local levels also renewed messaging efforts in support of CoreVax. The common message developed about CoreVax, originally used in early June, was re-released as 2 additional messages. So it basically was a battle. It's a battle of getting the information out here, getting you to take it, and you pushing back. Like, this is what this whole spiel was about. I've read half of this already. So, I mean, it's just crazy. So, the common message developed about CoreVax originally, I already read that, and 2 additional messages were developed and distributed by mid-October, just before the vaccine was made available in the entire U.S. population. Paul Farmer, the renewed global health expert, right? The renowned global health expert, provided the dialogue for the first of these. wherein he lauded the safety and efficacy of Corvax. So Paul Farmer, it must be Bill Gates. That's funny, Farmer, right? And underscored the dangers of SPARS. His only regret, he said, was that the vaccine could not yet be made available to everyone on the planet. In the second message, former President Bennett redeemed herself by televising her vaccination as well as the vaccine of her 2 granddaughters. See? They planned on that. All that was a script. They knew they had to go on TV. Oh, wow, this is crazy. This was in 2017, guys. They knew everything that we were going to do before we even did it. And just played the hand. Even though we knew it was bullshit, but they already knew what they had to do, man. Crazy. These pro-vaccination efforts were largely successful. You damn right they was. And vaccination rate in many areas of the country began to climb through December 2026. The population with the highest vaccination rate in the United States, however, did not participate in this pro-vaccination rhetoric. Filipino Americans and Filipino immigrants living in the United States. These groups, mostly closely associated with the SPARS in the news media, and at least in some circles of the group, often blamed for the spread of SPARS, had near perfect vaccination rates. Though Filipinos across the United States demonstrated great solidarity through the SPARS pandemic, their potential as a source of pro-vaccination rhetoric remained largely untapped. And then that was the end of that chapter, but I'm only going to go that far. See? Look at this. September 23rd, 2026, World Herald. Miyazaki refuses U.S. vaccine. We're pursuing other options. See? I'm not going to read the rest, but I just had to add this to the end of to the end of that video, because this is just amazing, man. If you guys get a chance, look up the SPARS pandemic. It's pretty wild, And John Hopkins, nonetheless, 2017, put this together. It's just mind blowing. But that's all I wanted to show y'all. So all this shit is planned, and look at how long this is supposed to go on for. 3 years. So we only technically we're only here a year and a half. So we got another year. It's not going to stop. People think it's going to stop. Oh, let me show you one more thing they got in here that's mind blowing. All right. Let me show you one more doozy in here. So you already know. Listen, y'all. You already know what I'm about to show y'all. Listen, the light's going out. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Look, you see what they got right there? A grid, look. And look, this is what they're going to do to you. Important health advisory. Grant County Health District, Acondagon, whatever county public health will provide Corvax for the general public. 7 p.m. Saturday, July 18. Okay, get vaccinated against SPARS. Okay, look. Listen, on July 9th, 2026, a week before Corvax was released for distribution in the United States, the power grid at the Grand Collier Dam in eastern Washington state experienced catastrophic failure. While the event did not destroy any infrastructure or result in any death, it did cause widespread power outages in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and British Columbia. Though the power was restored within a day of the initial outage, blackouts continued plaguing these areas over the next 3 weeks. Because summer temperatures in the region are typically moderate and adequate numbers of emergency generators existed for hospitals and other public facilities, there were no significant public health concerns associated with the event. Unfortunately, all communications about the vaccine rollout were published in electronic form, and consequently, many individuals in affected areas were initially unable to access information provided by state, local, or federal health authorities regarding Corvax dispensing. State and local health officials scrambled to hand-deliver flyers printed and copied at local emergency operations centers using backup generators to explain vaccination vaccine prioritization and POD information. This extremely time-consuming effort exhausted a public health workforce already stretched thin by epidemic response and several years of budget cuts, but it was ultimately successful. Early vaccination rates in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho were very similar to other states, in some cases above average. In spite of the success, the incident underscored the shortcoming associated with relying solely on electronic communication strategies. I found that pretty wild, you know. Look at this. While greater use of electronic media opens new opportunities, a broad outreach, what communication vulnerabilities exist that could impede communication efforts? See, they knew, and they had classes on this. John Hopkins, these are the people that are running this psychological operation, man. They turning the lights out. They have to turn the lights out, y'all. They have to do it. And I'm gonna show y'all something else. Okay, this came out June 14th. All right. Under a white sky. Look at this. Summer 2021 reading. The Over story. All right. Look at this. Look at the Psychopath's books, y'all. Look at the Psychopath's books. Look at this fucking sick fuck. Look at his ass. Look at the book. Lights Out. Defense. Let me find a clearer picture. This guy's a fucking piece of shit. Forgive my language, but this guy's the biggest scumbag on the fucking face of the earth. How he gets, it's just disgusting. But these are the books right here. They list them right here. Lights Out. Pride, Delusion, and the Fall of General Electric. All right, that's what that's about. So-called, all right. Under a White Sky, The Nature of the Future, right? I don't know what the fuck that is about, but they don't even put it on there. And A Promised Land by Barack Obama. We already know that. The Over story, all right? A Promised Land. Yeah, you know, and then this is the thing, y'all. All this is, they're telling you what's about to happen. A Promised Land, you already know. He promised that land, Sharia law, all right? They're already coming in, man. I've been making a video, but it's like I'm just going to do a live stream and show y'all they're putting all these signs out before July 4th. You know, I'm not saying anything that happened on July 4th, but a lot of stuff is talking about July 4th. But anyways, this Psychopath, right? 5 books recommended for your summer reading. That's a more clear picture right here. This creep. He's a creep, man. You know? Under a White Sky, Lights Out. So they plan on turning the lights out, man. You know, it's just obvious. They're going to turn the lights out. They plotting something. Like I said, Cuomo, fireworks. I mean, this Cuomo fireworks that he did, you know, celebrate. Cuomo fireworks celebrate him. Yeah. Criticizing his fireworks display. But anyways, they did it, right? 13 too. 13 state landmarks to be lit blue and gold, all right? Because it got to 70%, right? 472 days ago, it was impossible to fathom that 70% of New Yorkers would have received vaccination, right? What's 7 plus 2? 9, okay? This is how you know this shit is all plotted, man. 4 plus 7 is what? 11. Plus 2 is 13. And what did they do? 13 landmarks to be lit, okay? Fireworks displays begin at 9:15 across the state, okay? For 70%. Who else wants 70%? All right. Biden, 70. I can't find the percent sign. 70%, right? By July 4th. Okay. Now look at Cuomo. All right. Look, Cuomo. All right. This is crazy. Cuomo. What happened? Cuomo did fireworks. All right, which represent 4th of July. Okay, 472 days, 13. All right, 13 landmarks. Okay, also, Biden's, they want 70% by the 4th of July fireworks, but also the day that Cuomo did this, okay, it was 19 days until 4th of July. All right? 19 days. Boom. And he announced it on the 15th. All right? Y'all don't believe me? Don't believe me? $19 days. Representing what? COVID-19. So the 15th he did it. July 4th is what? 19 days. You see how this shit is working, man? I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think they may have a mock something blowing up some electric grid or something happening, something big, because they have to turn the lights out. They just have to. We all know they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. They're gonna turn the lights off. They're gonna shut. Something's gonna be cut off, And then Bill Gates, psychopath, okay, under a white sky. All right, what color is the sky? All right, what color is the sky? All right. All right. Fireworks leaves the sky white. The smoke. It leaves white. They ain't gonna show that, but y'all know what I mean. This is crazy, right? It really is crazy. It really is crazy. It's mind-blowing. So yeah, man, if y'all get a chance, check that out, man. Check out this SPARS. SPARS scenario, pandemic. Like I said, we're nowhere near done. This ran for 3 years. We are only in a year and a half. So, all right, let me get this video uploaded. It'll be on BitChute. I'm gonna put it on my YouTube channel. So we'll see how it lasts. It seems like they kind of got the algos on low because they want to push. They gotta show. It's a campaign. You gotta show the good. You gotta show the bad now. Then you gotta come out with another scenario and convince people to take it. But they're gonna know there's bad, and they're gonna say, okay, well, there's good, because they told us it's good, but they're gonna have bad. So this is what they're gonna do, man. Believe whatever you want to believe, but it's crazy. It's peace and love, y'all.